Hello girls, gays, and non-binary babes. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about all of the books that I want to read in the winter season. So some of these books are going to be books that I want to read because they feel wintry to me and they feel cozy. Some of them are books that I want to read because the next book in the series is coming out in the winter, and some of these I want to read just because they've been on my TBR for a while. So yeah, we've got quite the selection and I'm very excited to talk about them. So without any further ado, let's jump on into it. So the first book I want to reread is actually not a book, it is a graphic novel series, and that is Saga. So I have all of the books, I have all the graphic novels in the series so far, and I will be rereading them hopefully before January because the author is finally out of hiatus and the series will be continuing in January. January 22nd, I believe. Either January 22nd or the 16th. I can't quite remember. This is one of my favorite series of all time. Easily my favorite graphic novel series. I adore these characters and I adore this world and everything about it. I will be rereading all 9 books and I'm super excited. I'm probably going to read them with my boyfriend because he has read I think to like 5 and he needs to finish them and I just want to reread them. So yeah, Saga is definitely on the list and I'm super excited to reread this. If you didn't know, this is a fantasy graphic novel and there's a lot in it, but I really like the artwork. The artwork is super cool. Let me see if I can like NSFW, but I mean come on, that's super cool. And yeah, I'm just really into it, and if you have not heard of it or read it, then get on it. The next book I have is another reread, and that is The Starless Sea by Morgenstern. So I read this for the first time 2 years ago, almost exactly, and I picked it up while I was in Amsterdam traveling, and that's kind of why I want to reread it, is because when I was in Amsterdam it was like super cold. It was mid-November and I really just want to go back, and I don't know if this would be considered like a wintry feeling book, but it does feel wintry to me because of the time when I first read it. I loved this story and I just really want to get back to it, so I think wintertime is the perfect time for that. Next up, we have a book that's been on my TBR for a while, both in general and then also on my physical TBR, and that is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. Everybody was raving about this a few months back and I did buy it, but it's just been sitting on my TBR. I haven't really been in the mood for fantasy, so that's why I haven't gotten to it yet, but I am so looking forward to this and I really want to get to it in the wintertime, especially because I think I will be more in a fantasy mood in the wintertime. So yeah, I can't quite remember what this is about. I know it's a fantasy and it deals with, I believe, colonialism and racism and all that different stuff, and it is also sapphic, so I'm very much looking forward to it. It is quite long, it's about 500 pages, but yeah, I definitely need to get to this before the year is out. That is for sure. Next up, we have Alone with You in the Ether by Olivie Blake. I don't know much about this one. I do know that it is a love story, and I believe it's kind of like sad romantic, like kind of that vibe. So I really wanted to read this in the winter because I feel like it would fit the vibe really well. Also because I've had this on my TBR for a little while and I haven't picked it up for whatever reason. I am slowly working my way through all of Olivie Blake's books. I have read The Atlas 6 and what's the other one? La Petite Mort. So yeah, this is the next book I have to read of hers and I would really like to get to it during the winter time. So yeah, don't know much about this one though, so yeah, feel free to let me know down below if you know what it's about. I just know that it's a love story and it's by Olivie Blake, so yeah. Next up is a whole series that I will be hopefully rereading in the wintertime, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I have not read these books in so long. This one's actually tabbed up and highlighted. So yeah, but I need to reread this series because I still have not read the last book, which came out like 2 years ago now, which is The King of Crows. And I really want to read it, but I need to refresh myself on the entire story again. And I've been putting it off and putting it off, and I really just need to bite the bullet and reread all of them. Not that it's like biting the bullet, because I really love this series, but I think it's just because they're all quite big books. Hopefully I will get to this one and then all the other books in the series. There are a total of 4, and fingers crossed I will do it. So please pray for me. If you didn't know what this is about, but also it takes place in the 20s or well, the 1920s, not like now. It takes place in the 1920s and follows a bunch of kind of magical teens and this murder mystery kind of thing happening, and it's super good. Really like the series. It's a lot of fun. Next up, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but next up I will be reading, not rereading, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. So feel free to correct me. I believe this is like a wintry kind of book. I believe it takes, I think this is like a Russian classic. So if it's Russian, then there's snow, which means it's a wintry book. So I think, yeah, but I do want to read this during the winter time because I believe it's like a wintry kind of themed book, but also just because I bought it recently and I really want to get to it. This is quite long. Oh my god, 800 pages. Oh, maybe not. I don't know, man. I don't know what this is about. I think it's a love story. So yeah, really would like to get to this one. But feel free to let me know if it is like wintry or whatever in the comments, because I am curious. Next we have another series, and I am going to be rereading the Wayward Children series, but I've already finished the first book. I skipped the second book because I reread that recently and I don't really feel like reading it again, I guess. And I'm currently working my way through the third book, which is Beneath the Sugar Sky. And these are by Sean McGuire. So I have 3 books left in the series, and I'm rereading them. 1, because I love them, and 2, because I have an arc of the next one coming out in January. So yeah, I really want to read that one, but it continues the general storyline, and I do want a refresher on that. So yeah. The ones that I have left to read though are In an Absent Dream, which is my favorite one in the series. I cannot wait to get to that. And then we have Come Tumbling Down, and we have Across the Green Grass Fields. I'm not sure if I will be rereading this one because I also read this recently, because I had an arc of that as well that I didn't get to until kind of late, I think. I can't remember, but I do remember quite a lot of this, so I don't know if I will be rereading that one, but these are just the ones that I have left to read. I will be doing a full series review on them as well once I finish, so be on the lookout for that. I'm very excited, but yeah, these 3 should be no problem. They're like 150 pages each, so I'm not really worried about those ones. So yeah, and then finally we have a book that I talked about in my last video and I talk about a lot, but I will be rereading once again Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance by Ruth Emmy Lang. This is my favorite book of all time, and I always reread it in the fall/winter time, so it is time for my yearly reread. I just adore this book. If you're new to my channel and you haven't heard me talk about this, it's about this magical boy who grew up with wolves, and it tells his life story through people who he meets, primarily through the stories told through this girl that falls in love with him, like meets him when she's a child and grows up and, you know, falls in love with him, whatever. I just adore this story. It's so beautiful and magical, and it's incredible, and I cannot wait to reread it. I am very much looking forward to it. So yeah, it's just such a beautiful book, and I love it so much. So yeah. So that's pretty much my list for today. It's not really long, there's just a lot of series on it, but I do like to give myself some wiggle room because I am a mood reader, so yeah. But let me know what you want to read in the wintertime down below because I'm very much interested. I'm always looking for recommendations, I always say that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!